It's beautiful outside, and I know not all of you guys are in places where it's beautiful, so I thought I would answer number 13 from the Ask Me Anything quiz I'm doing over on Twitter. I thought I would do number 13 outside with you guys. Y'all get to enjoy my mom's beautiful flower bed, beautiful spring flowers, and some lizards, some liveliness, while we talk about number 13, my advice for younger artists. So you guys, and I'm going to say younger and newer artists, since people can start making art at any age, you can become an artist at any age. So maybe that's my first piece of advice, is you can become an artist at any age. There is no too late to become an artist unless you're dead. There is not necessarily even a too early to become an artist if it's what you really want to do, if it's something you really want to pursue and something that you enjoy. So my first piece of advice to younger / newer artists is it's never too late to start. And don't be ashamed if you're an older artist. Don't feel like you have to lie about your age. Don't feel like you have to say you're younger. Don't feel like you have to say you're older. You are the age you are. So that's my advice, is just kind of, you can start at any time. My next piece of advice for newer artists is to practice learning the fundamentals. Eat your peas and carrots. And that doesn't mean only draw your fundamentals. It means dedicate some time every day to studying those fundamentals. Drawing, like anything, is a skill. So like math, like spelling, like writing, it's a skill. It can be learned. It can be taught. I teach art classes, so I know it can be taught. I used to be a terrible artist. If you guys are curious, I will link one of my, sorry, I'm gonna wait for that loud car, that loud big truck to go. I shared some of my earlier art from when I was in high school, so you guys can see I wasn't a very good artist when I was younger. So learning those fundamentals, oh look, the irises are blooming. Learning those fundamentals, studying those fundamentals, figure drawing, constructing figures, drawing faces, how the faces constructed, the proportions, learning how to draw from reference, learning how to draw from real life, learning where to find reference and how to use your reference. Also just learning how to interact with other humans, how to interact with your customers, how to interact with people you might wish to pay, and learning how to interact with other artists are all really important skills. And I feel like the social skill aspect of being an artist is often kind of neglected. Being an artist doesn't mean you can just hole up and only talk to your friends on Snapchat. It means you have to deal with a lot of people you might not like, and you have to be really diplomatic about it. So study your fundamentals would be another piece of advice, and that's a lifelong, like as long as you are pursuing art, you're going to be practicing, you're going to be studying. My third piece of advice is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make something ugly. That's how you learn. Making ugly art means you took a risk. Making something that kind of fails means you took a risk. It means you tried something new, and that's where you're going to improve. You don't have to show anybody that unless you want to. You're welcome to share art you don't like. It can be beneficial in a lot of different ways, and sometimes a piece you didn't like is a piece somebody else loves. Or maybe they can point out like a simple change that will totally change the flavor of the piece for you and make it something you can enjoy. So don't feel like you have to share everything you make, but sometimes taking a risk and sharing something you didn't like ends up paying off. It can sometimes get you a job. What else? Making a living as an artist is very difficult. I know you've heard that a million times. I apologize. Making a living as a comic artist is difficult. Making a living as a commission artist is crazy difficult. Making a living as a convention artist is crazy difficult. So my best advice is not to give up, but to diversify. If you want to go to school for art, maybe double major in something not art related. So I have a minor degree in, or a minor in Earth Environmental Science. It was almost a major, almost double majored, but calc is not my friend. So you want to even just having that, even if you're never, look at that lizard. Even if you're never gonna go, he's so brave. He's like standing up for himself. He's like, girl, you better back off. This is my post. You're so beautiful though. Look at his beautiful patterns. Isn't he gorgeous? What a beautiful lizard. He really is quite striking. Oh, sorry. Anyway, though, so clearly you can see that I like animals, I like nature, I like being outside, Earth Environmental Science. So that has really fueled my work. It's really informed my work. It's really, look at that lizard right there. It's really provided a source of inspiration and love for my work, that background in environmental science, but also pursuing one of my other interests, at least to the point where I have some education and some knowledge on it. So, you know, having other things you can do is always good. It doesn't make you less of an artist. I think some people think that they failed as an artist because they're not getting paid full time to work in a studio, or they're not getting paid right out the gate for a first comic proposal. You need to be flexible and be able to do a few different things. I mean, I've done so many different adjacent art related things over the years to earn income. I teach, I do cons, I've done commissions, I do online teaching. I mean, it's just a lot of different things going into helping me be solvent. So that sort of flexibility and not taking it so personally. I see so many people really feel like they're a failure as an artist because they can't earn enough income from commissions alone or from conventions alone. And it's a real tough scrabble. And it doesn't mean you're less. It just means that what you have doesn't necessarily sell as well to that crowd as some other artists might. It also might mean that your customer base is all fellow artists who love your art but are just as broke as you and really can't afford to lose that money, to spend that money on something like a commission. So diversify, and also learning not to take things too personally is really, really important. It's the sort of flexibility that'll really help you withstand the long term. And I don't know, make friends with other artists. Don't just make friends with your heroes. Make friends with, just be nice to as many people as possible. Don't be rude. Don't be snooty. Don't assume you're better than people. That's something else I've seen hurt a lot of people, and it's hurt myself in the past. When you compare yourself to others and you find them lacking, and then you see them getting the jobs and the opportunities that you feel like you have, the only course of action, the only thought you can come up with is, what's wrong with me? Why am I so bad? And a really healthier way to do it, if you can learn how to appreciate the beauty in other people's art, even if it's not for you, even if it's not to your taste, even if you would do it differently, it's going to really create a healthier mindset, because instead of looking at your art and thinking, gosh, I suck, you're going to think, hopefully, as you work towards having a healthier outlook on it, you're hopefully going to think, what did this artist do that made their work really suitable for this job, and what can I learn from them? So it's all about like mental flexibility, because mental flexibility is going to give you more resiliency and loving yourself. Are we on 4 now? No, we're on 5, I want to say. Loving yourself, working hard to love yourself, working hard not to beat yourself up. So many artists think if they just whip themselves enough, they'll get more work done. And I did that. And y'all, I was suicidally depressed in 2016 from doing that. Look at the bee. What a beautiful bee, enjoying the Indian hawthorn. Do your work, little bee. Get to it. Sorry, I have to regroup my thoughts with that. I got distracted by the beautiful bee. Can you tell your girl has ADHD? I know a lot of you guys are also. So, oh yes, loving yourself, being kind to yourself, being forgiving, treating yourself like a friend. That was something I'm still working on. But it was such a big turning point for me when I realized I just could not beat the horse anymore. Like, she was a dead horse. She wasn't going anywhere. These are blueberry flowers. So instead of beating it, I decided to start treating myself like I would a best friend, because Becca works hard. Becca always gives her best. Becca always tries to make it work. Becca's a fairly kind person. Becca deserves to have boundaries. Becca deserves to respect her own boundaries, and she deserves to stand up for herself. And working on loving myself as a person and valuing myself as a person helps me love other people. It helps me value other people. It helps me stand up for myself and set boundaries. And when I set boundaries for myself and I enforce them, then I don't resent people, because then I don't agree to do things I really didn't want to do, but I felt like I had to. And that's difficult, I know, because artists at many different points of their artistic careers feel like we have to take jobs we don't want because we have to make ends meet. And that pressure can really kill you. It can really eat you alive. It can make you make decisions that are really bad for you and possibly very dangerous for you and potentially dangerous for the people you love. So I cannot tell you what to do in that regard. Every artist has to make that choice for themselves, but also just knowing you have the power to make that decision for yourself is very healthy. And sometimes it makes it easier when we choose something for ourselves and we weren't coerced and we were able to think it over. We can feel at peace with that decision and not resent that decision. So I know this art advice isn't like how to get a job, because my own career path has been so circuitous and there's been so many near hits and so many misses and so many near misses and some luck and a lot of bad luck. I don't really feel like I could not recommend that anybody follow my path, because it doesn't even really work for me. It would barely work for anyone else. But I do hope that some of the self-love, the self-kindness, the flexibility, the practicing, look at that guy over there, the patience, the being kind to other artists, I genuinely feel like the more people who practice that, the sooner we practice that, the better off we're all going to be. And if we can just work harder to be kind to each other and try to understand where one another are coming from instead of making assumptions and being jealous. Like, I'm going to give you guys an example. This is an example that honestly makes me kind of salty. I'm not mad at the people who assume it, but I'm tired of the assumption. This channel has around 10.5K, 10,500 of you guys. My videos are very unpopular. I range anywhere from 30 to 200 views. And that is what it is. It's fine. What I do is super niche, and a lot of what I do is frankly kind of boring to some people, and this channel is very much geared towards a specific type of art education. So I'm okay with that. But people assume I am sponsored by companies and not disclosing that to you guys, and B, getting sent literally everything for free and not disclosing that to you guys. And to be real with y'all, I respect you guys too much, and I resent when other artists do that. I think it's deceitful and it's actually illegal. It's breaking FTC rules. So I would not do that. I would disclose in the video and in the description if the video was sponsored, or if even when things are sent to me care of for review and there's no talk of money and there's no talk of further compensation, I would disclose that to you guys. But people assume I do that, even though my channel is so small. No one would make any money or any sales doing that. It would be not an act of business. It would be an act of charity to sponsor my channel. I just don't have that reach or that influence, and I don't want to do some of the things that I know would be necessary to have that reach. So, you know, it's a choice that I've made, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with where I'm at. But I feel like people don't really think that through. There's like no money to be made in sponsoring me. So it's one thing for people to ask that. Hey, Becca, are you sponsored? Hey, Becca, who are your sponsors? Hey, Becca, did they send that to you for free? People don't ask. What happens is they will get really, really, really angry at me in my comments or on my Discord or on Twitter in DMs and say a bunch of frankly ugly things to me because they made that assumption. And then when I explain to them that no, I buy almost everything I review, I think 98% of things are things I've purchased or things I've owned. I purchase those things out of my own pocket from money I've made teaching, money I make doing conventions, money I make doing commissions. Also, through fundraising on coffee, sometimes I'll post like, hey guys, I want to review XYZ product. If you're interested in this review, tip me, and when we reach the goal, I'll buy it, you know, like that. And also, oh, look at that big bee. Oh, don't get me. Sorry. I love bees, but I'm a little allergic. Or through my Patreon, like 98%. Well, a lot of, I won't say that, because some of it goes to paying other artists to create content for people to enjoy, to get kind of other viewpoints on my blog. And ideally, I'd love to commission people to do videos, but I think that's just a little out of my budget. But that's how I afford to pay for those things. And if people asked, I'm happy to talk about it. Used to mention it a lot, and then people got mad about that. But my point with all of that is these are people who see what I have. They don't really know what goes into it. They don't really know how I'm affording it. They don't really know anything about it because they don't really know me. And they're making assumptions. Instead of just asking me, giving me the benefit of the doubt and treating me like a person, they treat me like, when I say they treat me like a celebrity, I don't mean that in a positive way. And I don't think celebrities should be treated that way, but they treat me like the competition and like an adversary and like someone who deserves to be put in her place. And being on the receiving end of that, it makes me want to stop doing all of the things that I do. It makes me want to just do paid teaching privately, and it makes me want to make comics and not share them on the internet, but only sell them at shows to people. Like, you know what I mean? It makes me want to like quit offering things for free and paywalling everything as a way of protecting myself from people who are not invested enough to just talk to me, but are invested enough to get mad at me. And I see that happen not just to me. I've been very fortunate, okay? Most of my fans are lovely, lovely people. Come say hi to me at shows. They say hi to me when we see each other at art stores. Lovely people. I'm really not complaining about like 99.5% of you. This really happens very rarely to me. It's more, I see much more popular people also treated like this much more frequently, and I know how exhausting it is for me getting it sporadically, so I can only imagine how exhausting and demoralizing it is when you're doing good work and your intentions are good, and yeah, you are making money, so what? And people are mad at you for that. So if we can just be kinder to one another and more patient with one another and just more loving towards one another, I think that would go a really long way towards a healthier art industry, a healthier comics industry, a healthier convention industry, a healthier commissions industry. So that's like my number one takeaway, the thing I want to see young artists work on, new artists and young artists work on the most, is being kind to one another and being kind to other people and being kind to artists that they admire, artists that they might envy. And that's something I'm working on, and I encourage artists at any stage of their career to work on. Is like, let's just be kinder to each other. So that was a very long number 13, but I hope you guys enjoyed looking at my mom's beautiful flower beds and hearing me ramble about being kind to one another and my general artistic advice, because basically anything can be learned, any skill can be learned. You guys have YouTube now, you have Skillshare, you have blogs like, shoot, I'll toot my own horn, blogs like mine that spend a lot of time teaching you guys how to do things, and you can access all of those things for free. You have public libraries that you can request any art book you want and they'll try to get a hold of it for you within reason. You have libraries that'll pay artists to come and teach you guys how to do things. If there's a demand, if the community wants to learn how to do it, they'll pay for them and it's free for you. You guys have so many amazing resources. I mean, I guess I do too. I can Google as well as anyone else. You have so many amazing resources at your fingertips that you can learn how to do anything. The rest is how to be a kind person, how to talk to people, how to network with other artists so that it doesn't just seem like you're out to get something, but that you're genuinely interested in making friends. And those are skills, I think those are skills that can be learned and practiced too, but they're certainly not skills that are necessarily taught. So I know it can be harder to learn those things. So it was kind of rambly, but most of us are at home entertaining ourselves during COVID. Sorry. I've been saying it wrong. Originally I was like, oh, the coronavirus. I know, so stupid. But like, this was when it was hitting China and it was definitely serious. But I also have a bit of a gallows sense of humor. It helps with my anxiety, so you know, try to you either laugh or you cry. So not to correct myself. Look at the frog statue with all the cool moss. Anyway, I hope you guys found that helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed looking at all the beautiful spring flowers on this really beautiful Louisiana early spring day. So that was my very circuitous advice for new and younger artists who are interested in pursuing an artistic career or just enjoying art. And of course, you guys can enjoy art for fun. You can be a serious hobbyist. You don't have to be totally dependent on art for your income. You don't have to be dependent at all on art for your income. That doesn't make you less of an artist. Every day you draw, every day you paint, every day you sculpt, every day you write is a day that you're an artist. So I will see you guys again really soon. Thank you for asking number 13. I actually really enjoyed answering it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Bye!